I put out a map of the Shackles, just so that you get like a little bit of an idea what your character would probably have seen once or twice in their life. You might know more than this about it, but pretty much anybody who's lived on the coast would know this kind of this image. This right here is Port Peril, and that's where you left from. And then there's all of these islands. This is the main continent here. Okay.
So we don't really know where we are at this point, right? Because we kind of just woke up out in the middle of the ocean.
Right. You do know that the Eye of the Bendigo is this giant hurricane over here. Okay. And it's always there. It's persistent.
Well, I would think most, or at least some of us, should know basically what direction we're heading, because we can tell where the sun is.
Mm-hmm.
Do any of us know at least what direction we're headed?
And were we close to Eye of Bendigo? Did we see something with that earlier?
She saw it. You can usually, on a clear day, depending on how close you are, but on a clear day here, you can see it. And sometimes it's just a dark spot in the sky. Obviously, the closer you get, the more it'll mess with you.
I would think Patrick would know, because, you know, Riddleport is just north of there on the same coastline.
Right.
And it's a pirate port, too, so people are probably going back and forth between the two a lot.
Actually, to get from Riddleport down here, you have to sail around the outside of the Eye of Bendigo. So, because it turns this way, right? And that wind is constantly moving this direction, which means you can sail up the coast easily, but to come back down the coast, you got to go with the wind.
No, I'm not saying he's been there, but I'm saying people probably go back and forth between, because they're both pirate
and if you're
areas.
and if you're really good, you use the Eye of Bendigo as a slingshot to put you back on track.
Yeah, well, there's actually like a what do they call it, a regatta, where people have races around the Eye of the Bendigo, and it's pretty interesting because you can, you know, the closer you get to it, the more wind you're going to pick up, and you can take advantage of, but it's also a lot more dangerous. So you got to kind of figure out where that balance is between playing it safe and playing it fast. So you
because I'm guessing if you actually run into the thing, it's not going to be pretty.
Right. No. And there are some towns that are set up.
On the rigging somewhere. He's on the middle one, but not in the crow's nest.
Let me. Okay, so let me explain how this is set up right now. Everybody on the left side of the ship, the port side of the ship, is a daytime person, and everybody on the starboard side is a nighttime person.
Okay, well, I'm daytime, so maybe balance this guy.
All right, so you asked where in the sea you are, and you can tell because of where the Eye of the Bendigo is. You can see that dark spot in the sky, and the direction that the sun is going. You can tell that you're headed north west.
Okay, so we're kind of, and if we're headed northwest, that means we're probably not going to try and go around the Eye of Bendigo, because we have to go along the coastline, which is to the east. So we're headed probably somewhere up in these islands or something. We're up kind of that blank space between Port Peril and these upper islands.
If you were going up the coast, you would just be heading east, because the Eye of Bendigo spins that way. So you're kind of cutting it more west, because you're cutting the wind, is what they call it.
Yeah.
You can't sail directly into the wind, but there's this kind of 45-degree angle that you can get. Yeah, you can zigzag back and forth to go up the wind that way, because you can't do this, but you can do this. So that's kind of what you're experiencing, which means there's a lot of work for the riggers and the swabs to do, just adjusting the sails. About every hour or two, the captain will make a turn to tack back up the other way, and that means everybody's got to pull ropes and make adjustments to the sails. So you stay pretty busy. You were asking if there was something you could do at night, because you're a daytime rigger, right? So yeah, is there something that you want to do at night while they're doing their work?
Well, I mean, just exploring the ship, maybe talking to people, trying to find out about our weapons and how we can get
Well,
those
and didn't
back.
you also say that at the end of the ship, like some of the crew usually hangs out and plays cards
Yeah.
and stuff? Like there's kind of like a common area
Mm-hmm.
that where people are probably going to be for at least an hour or two after their shift anyway.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, and you see, some people stay up later and some people go to bed, and there's, there's game advantages to just going right to bed, especially if you're fatigued from a day's work, then you're probably going to want to do that to recoup. But there's also game advantages to staying up and doing other things.
Do we know is there like a curfew on the boat? Say everyone else is asleep and you decide, say you wake up and decide to wander around the ship for a while and just explore. If someone sees you, are they be like, "Hey, what are you doing up?"
You can make a knowledge local check to see if you've picked up on any of that.
Knowledge level. I don't have any bonuses for that. What is that? What skill? What ability is that?
Well, it'll be a knowledge check, so it's a specific.
Yeah, but because basically that perception is a wisdom. Check.
It would be intelligence.
Intelligence. Yeah, sweet, that works. Because I don't have knowledge local, but I do have intelligence, of course.
Then make a diplomacy check instead.
Diplomacy.
Yeah, because you're just gathering
What's the
information.
difference
from
between a
people.
+1 and a +2? So either way, better than 0. Center roll 9. High roll 18.
All right, plus is that with your bonus?
That 9 is not with a bonus, so I'd be at 10.
You're able to kind of ask around a little bit about what are the expectations for after your shift is over, and pretty much the answer you get from everybody is it's not really any rules for that. Just don't hurt people.
Yeah, don't do anything bad.
You're not allowed to do anything bad. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
And what that means exactly, nobody is really sure. Just don't.
Well,
just don't make the captain angry.
Exactly. Well, I'm not making my friend.
Which on the second day, you guys would be asleep during this morning time, but those of you who are awake on the day shift, you would see that the captain is not really visible. It's Mr. Plug steering the ship, and then Master Scourge kind of calling out Mr. Plug's orders, and then below Master Scourge, you would have like the captain over the riggers and the officer over the swabs, and that's sort of the hierarchy. So on this day, you are given tasks to do. Let's see.
Okay, and Ratzenberger, he's my boss, right?
Yes.
Okay, John.
You're out of fish, and that's not good. So, group wakes up long enough to tell you that you need to throw some nets over and maybe some chum to attract some fish and see what you can catch. And then he goes back to sleep.
Do I need to roll a perception check to see if I can find any chum? Or is it pretty obvious that, hey, here's a bucket of
I would
guts?
talk to the cook.
Yeah, that was the cook.
That was the cook.
That was him.
Then he should have a bucket of unedible fish parts somewhere.
You can find a bucket of chum.
Okay. Do I see the nets?
No.
Should I roll a perception check?
Um,
See if I go
where do you-
searching.
where would you search?
Are there any cabinets or anything that
Mhm.
there might be nets?
Yeah. Go ahead and roll a perception.
20 and a 13. So I critted and then 13.
Okay. That 13 is with your perception?
Yes.
Okay. So you do find nets, and you find Kroop's hidden stash of rum. It's not labeled rum. It actually has a skull and crossbones on it.
But I know it's wrong.
But you're like, something about it doesn't seem right, and just the placement of it. Why would a cook keep poison in here, right? So you open it up and smell it. It's clearly rum. He's got several of these bottles on hand.
for now, I'll leave it there. I'm not going to take it or anything.
Okay.
I'll just kind of put everything back where it was. And was it... Did I find the rum before I found the nets?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay. So I'll put everything back, like, to keep the rum hidden where it was, so hopefully he's not suspicious, and just take the nets.
Yeah. The nets were in the last place you looked. Because once you find them, you don't look anymore.
Okay. So I will walk upstairs with the nets and the bucket of chum. And
Do you know how to operate the nets?
not really. Trying to think, would I know how to operate that? I don't think so.
Probably not.
Professional sailor, if you have it, might.
No, I'm not.
She
No,
does
I'm
know.
not. But
Oh,
we lived
you're not a sailor.
coastally, and we would eat a lot of seafood. But I don't think we'd use nets or a boat. I think
how do
we're
you-
like,
so
I
how
mean,
do
you might know how to net fish, but net fishing like on the coast
is different.
is different than net fishing off a boat.
How would you normally catch fish as a sea witch? Like, wouldn't you just like dive into the water and grab a few of them,
Some of
bring
them.
them back?
Pole, sitting on a dock kind of thing,
Mhm.
the old-fashioned way. Okay, so I'm gonna head up to the top deck and I'm just gonna look around and see if there's anyone that I can ask. Be like, hey, have you seen Mr. Fishguts catch fish before?
Anybody on the port side of the ship is out there.
So who's that?
Okay, so that you would recognize her from the bar fight. She is the obnoxious girl that started it all. She's the one.
Oh,
that
she's the Chilaxian?
Yeah, she's.
Oh no, I'm not gonna talk to
Good
her.
memory.
Okay.
Because I threw her off the
Yeah.
balcony. I'm not gonna,
Yeah.
like, oh.
I thought you might want to
sidestep.
not-
She remembers that.
Yeah,
For
I'm
sure.
gonna avoid her.
Okay.
What about...
Or approach her.
So
I
I can't
realize
see.
we kind
Let's
of got
see.
off on the wrong foot.
this guy, Kipper, he's kind of watching. He's the officer over the swabs.
This guy over here.
He's the pretty boy with the eyeliner that Joel spoke with when he first came up. So you ask him about the
Yes.
Her down there.
Kipper looks at you. He sort of looks you up and down, and then he's like, "You are trying to catch the fish?
If you want to eat.
Well, I do like to eat, and I will say that your dinner last night was much better than we've had in a long time. So, yes, I will tell you. You will take this chum to the front of the ship and just sort of sprinkle over the side. And it will be difficult because the ship is moving so fast today. But when it is slower, when the wind has died down, that is a good time. Because then the chum can sit there for a while and the fish can come to get it. And you can scoop them up. But if you put the chum off the front of the ship and then you go to the back and we have the nets out, yes? And we can support the net from the yardarm so that it make a big scoop, yes?
Yes.
And then we will catch what we can catch. Maybe fish, maybe sea turtle. They are all delicious.
So, how am I going to get this net out on the yardarm?
Oh, well, you just ask, how about, Ratline! You're ugly! Come down here, the goblin! Ratline's just like, what do you need, Kipper? We need you to attach the net to the line so that we can catch the fish. Do you want to eat, you ugly beast? He doesn't say anything. He swings down like a monkey, grabs the net, ties a quick knot faster than you can tell what he's doing, climbs back up, attaches the rope. It's hanging off the yardarm, so
Know
your
which
net
one is that?
is spread out. Huh?
I know which one is that. Is that the one that the guy's hanging off of in the basket?
No, he would probably attach it off of here. Nobody goes towards. You notice as he's climbing around, he really avoids getting close to that the skeleton in the basket. The skeleton in the basket is undead. It moves and it has its sword and it swings its sword anytime it thinks there's something close to
So
it.
they took our swords, but they won't take the zombies.
Right. Skeleton. And there's this parrot that just sits up on the top of the cage. And sometimes the parrot will say things, but it just sits there, and it'll fly down and eat, like, food if there's food out. At morning and at night when breakfast and dinner are served, the parrot's usually found around where it can kind of gather some scraps. But otherwise, it returns to the top of that cage and just sits there. You've got your net hooked up at the back of the ship. It's kind of dragging behind on the what is now the leeward side, so opposite the wind. And you go to the front of the ship and you dump some chum over.
Sprinkle some chum.
Yeah. Make a check. Let's do survival.
7.
Mm-hmm.
7.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You spend your day dumping chum and going and checking the nets, and then dumping chum and checking the nets.
Oh no.
And we'll come back to you.
Oh.
So you're up in the rigging, and you see all this go on with Ratline. He's giving you some things to do, but mostly it's hauling in those ropes, and things get caught, and you have to go up and get them loose and that kind of thing. But making those adjustments as you turn this way and that to keep that wind moving you forward. And so Ratline asks you to just do some, he calls it line work. You do have Sailor, right?
Yes.
So go ahead and make a Sailor check. What's your goal for today? Are you working, you're just doing like the hard work, or do you want to do some other things?
Most of the days I'm probably just going to do the work unless there's a reason for me to go down, and then I can talk to people in the evenings. Because,
Okay. That's fair.
Unless they have me go down after more rope or
That's the
something.
nice thing about night shift. It's easier to sneak around.
Okay, so
During your shift, yeah.
14.
You do a nice job of rigging things.
Yay.
You feel very comfortable on the ship.
Yeah.
Yeah. You might have been on a ship once or twice before, but this ship makes sense to you.
Okay.
So all the rigging that you're doing, it comes very naturally to you. And Ratline is very impressed. Rosie Cuswell is also very impressed.
Oh, what does she do?
She's just down there
This
swabbing
is
away.
awkward. I should have never gone and talked to her because as
Yeah.
a female, I don't know how to flirt with this girl as a guy.
Well,
How would you want to be flirted with?
I've been married for 36 years. I don't remember.
well, Rosie just swabs, and sometimes you look down and you see her like kind of looking up at you. Yeah,
Like,
and
I
they're
could
She's
give
kinda-
lessons for
and
one
I'm
goal
like-
an hour.
What?
I said I could give lessons for one goal an hour.
That's just creepy on too many levels.
I have to start on that.
yeah. I'm not even sure what kind of a check that would be.
Diplomacy.
What's your charisma score?
Possibly intimidate.
Intimidate? No.
I am not Rosie. No, I am sure Patrick probably knows, but me
No, that's what I'm
playing
saying.
Patrick.
That's what I'm saying. I'm
that's
like
kinda
basically make the wingman officer. The wing offer.
Cyrano.
Yeah. You like this?
Where's the guy with the nose they call Narwhal? He could be
Pulling
Cyrano.
Cyrano
Yeah.
Cyrano.
He's a knight. He's a knight
okay.
guy.
Yeah, because I'd be like, you like this skill? Yes.
Oh my
I
gosh.
teach you how to make her like you too.
Oh, great.
Well, I have
The
a plan
one-legged
for that.
cat with the
but-
huge scar.
Yeah, I have a plan
That's
for
what
that.
I look forward
but
to. Cat flirt.
I don't know if
A
that's
cat
to make her
flirt.
like me or just as friends, because we're both halflings, but we'll see where it goes.
Well, you get the feeling that she likes you.
Likes
And-
me.
Yeah, she likes you.
I rescued her from that
Right.
obnoxious guy.
And that's the other thing is that he's constantly you see him
Conchabar. or
Conchabar
the other one.
Shortstone. Conchabar. Yeah.
Okay.
The one that
Yeah. The
thinks-
the
obnoxious
pompous.
gnome.
One.
Yeah. He definitely likes Rosie, and she will have nothing to do
Where
with
is he?
him.
Is he daytime?
He's a daytime rigger. He's up here in the rigging. And so you're up there in the rigging, sort of looking down and flirting with Rosie, and he's getting mad you can see that there's that weird tension there, and she just, she'll see you looking at her, and she kind of smiles and waves. She'll see him looking at her, and she flips him off.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And probably says a few words.
Yeah, she's got some words.
Yeah.
She's definitely got a
not
foul
you,
mouth,
you
but
just
she's
flirt
really
with
good on
me.
that fiddle.
Well, she doesn't have it though, does she?
No, not yet.
Okay.
So while they're doing their daytime stuff, is there anything that you two want to do, or are you just sleeping?
If say I were to wake up wake up at some point in this general time period, and I just kind of look around the room, is there are the other night shift people still sleeping in here, or so I'm not the only one in the room?
Oh no, you're with all the guys that are all the nighttime guys. If you're waking up in kind of the middle of the night or the middle of the day, then yeah, they're all asleep.
Okay. And then there's going to be a lot more activity on the other decks of the ship, so I'm just going to go back to sleep.
Okay. So at some point, Killian stumbles up to the deck.
Stumbles? Is he still drunk?
Well, he's still nauseated, and that may be why he's overslept, because he doesn't have profession sailor either, and so his first couple days on the ship have been rough for him, and so he stumbles up onto the deck, and Ratline swings down, and he's like, You were supposed to be up here. I don't know why I'm looking at my wrist. You were supposed to be up here 3 hours ago. What's happened to you? You're like, oh, well, I overslept, sir. And Ratline's like, yes, you did. And you will not oversleep again. I've got a special job for you. Come here. Ratline swings down and shows him up to
he makes him clean with the vomit.
the front of the ship. No, the vomit's been mopped up. Or spread around, really, because you're not cleaning, you're just keeping it wet. It's okay. Shows him up to the front of the ship where this big metal box is sitting right there, kind of at the sunniest part of the ship.
Oh no.
And
Not the blue box.
he opens up the box.
He's gonna hotbox him.
Yeah.
Oh no.
Ratline opens up the box and he's like, You may want to take off your belt and anything else that's metal.
Oh no.
So Killian takes off his medal and he's like, Get in.
Oh.
Killian doesn't want to get in, but you can't really. At some point, if he resists, Ratline calls to Master Scourge, who takes a couple steps down the stairs and cracks his whip.
Oh
Killian gets into the box, and Ratline closes the box.
no.
A metal box in the heat of the day.
Yeah, on a pirate ship in basically on the equator. Yeah. And so,
It's probably 120 in there at least.
Oh no.
at least.
And very humid.
Yep. And so Ratline looks around, and everybody's kind of looking because this is really the first punishment you've seen on the ship. And Ratline goes, This is what happens when you don't do your work. So, make sure you're doing what you're told to do, and then we'll all get along just fine.
Hey.
And if I wasn't asleep for this, I'd be like, does the same punishment happen for night shift? Because, single game.
That's a good point. You could just sleep in
Try it
and
and
see
see.
what happens.
I'm pretty sure you'll get something
Big
else.
cat
Especially
food.
now that you brought that
He
news.
probably would like it. Sleeping in the dark.
I just texted Joe and told him where he is.
You're in a box.
Good.
Yes, because you weren't here.
Yeah.
So where is Ratface, whatever his name is?
Ratline Ratsburger.
Ratline. Where is he?
He's up in the rigging.
Okay, but
Mostly-
I mean, like where I can shout to him or
Yeah,
something,
yeah.
like.
And he does, if you're on the deck, everybody can hear everybody as long as you're shouting.
Yeah.
If
I'm
you
not
wanted
sure
to
what
have-
everybody. I was wanting to ask him where to get. When can we get our weapons? I got a knot here. I need my knife.
Well, that's really up to Mr. Plug, but I'll talk to him because you've done such good work
I'll see what I can do.
Appreciate it.
Usually after a couple of days, they start giving weapons back.
Great. Well, I'll need some help with this knot then.
Sure!
He swings over and he actually hands you his pin. What do they call those pins that you stick them in the side? Oh man.
I don't know.
Anyways, they use these pins and they're kind of a movable place where you can tie off.
Okay.
That's a bee.
So anyways, he hands you one of
Oh,
those
I got it.
and you can kind of jam it in there and open up the small spaces that you can't.
But I really kind
To
of want an
untie it.
excuse to get my stove back.
Yeah, the
I like
kids.
legs, by the way.
Jack and Jackie.
Yes.
Because I changed
Jack
it.
and Diane.
I got into their names from the adventure path, and then I changed their names. So I screwed myself up there. Jack and Jackie, they you can hear them. You wake up to them talking.
Are they still in the brig?
No, they're in the cots, but they're night shift,
Oh, yeah.
so they're sleeping in the same room as you. And you can hear them talking. Let's see. Jack is a rigger, but Jackie's a swab. So Jack is just in the cot right above Jackie, and they're kind of whispering. But you wake up and you can hear this conversation, and Jack is crying because his dad's knife. Yeah, his dad's knife was taken from him, and he's afraid they're gonna take away his scrimshaw that he's been working so hard on, and so Jackie is trying to console him, and she's like, "Well, here's what we can do, Jack. How about this? When it's our time, when it's our shift, you can go and you can make a distraction. Just say that you see something or something like that to kind of pull everyone's attention away, and then I'll sneak down from the rigging." And I'll go and I'll find your knife, Jack. I'll get it back for you. So you hear them kind of, this is the gist of the conversation.
I hear this. And like, okay, obviously it's not just me and them in the room. There's other
Right.
shift people in there too.
And you
So
can
I
tell
don't
some
wanna-
of them are asleep because they're snoring, but some of them you're not sure about.
Oh god.
So what if where am I in relation to them? Like,
You would be right next to Jack. No,
okay, so close enough.
Jackie, you're on the bottom.
Close,
Just
enough,
peg
close,
leg.
enough, close enough that I could probably whisper and they would hear me.
Mm-hmm. And you're actually between them and the rest of the people. They're at one end of their side. Okay, so you're between them and whoever's to your other side.
So anyway, after hearing this, I'm kind of like, hey kids.
They sort of pretend to be asleep.
You're not fooling anyone. But no, I'm like, kids, you're going to get yourself in big trouble. We can get your knives back. But just give it a couple of days. Let the people on the ship get used to us. And they're trying to make pirates out of us. We need weapons to be pirates. They give them back to us soon.
You hear Jack crying. It was my dad's knife. I miss him so much.
Yes, but if you try to get it now and you fail, they may take it away forever.
Well,
Let's see what happens after a few days.
will you help us?
I can talk to some people for sure. I've already been doing that.
So Jack
I was trying to get my gear yesterday. Almost got it. They said just a couple more days I have it back.
Yeah. Totally almost got it.
They don't know it.
So Jackie's like, but I know they have our stuff. I know where it is. It's in with that cutthroat lady. She's got that shop in the back of the ship. I know where it is. I just need to be able to get in there.
Are you talking about the armory deal that I was on the way to?
Yep. You haven't seen that room,
So,
but
okay,
yes.
I don't say this out loud where the kids can hear me, but in my head, that lying rat.
Oh.
What did the rat lie about?
Yeah.
He said that our gear wasn't in there. And then I was just trying to get into the armory.
First of all, the rat is clearly a lady rat.
Yes.
Because lady rat. And
Another rat.
He's a cat,
Second-
so rats look like
Yeah.
Right.
racist.
it's like,
Yeah.
just look like dinner.
Everybody looks the same to him.
I'm not racist, I'm speciesist.
No, everybody just looks the same to you.
Second, she didn't lie. Your stuff was not in her room.
No, but I thought I was asking about the other room. I was just exploring the ship.
Oh.
Yeah,
I
you
saw the-
snuck in back there and she told you to get out, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. And basically I was trying to convince her to let me go into this next room so that I could
She
collect
didn't
my
like you 'cause
gear.
you were a cat.
Well, whatever it was, she was sleepy and she threw acid on you.
Yeah.
And that's the, what's her name?
Peppery Longfarthing. Alright, so you try to convince them that they need to chill out. Make a diplomacy check.
11.
They agreed to wait a little while.
Sweet, because otherwise it was a critical fail.
This little kid's kill hall.
So you go back to sleep or pretend to or whatever, and they do too. As the sun sets, you've done a hard day's work. You go and gather the nets, and I won't even make you make a strength check to pull it in because it's just you caught like 3 fish in there.
Big ones like tuna.
No, not big ones.
Try.
And you're pretty sure
Yeah,
that
no.
that the fish that you
It's those
did
skills
catch
that give you that.
were
See on this.
it had nothing to do with the chum.
You
They just happened to be swimming by when your net dragged through them. So you take what you got,
You don't have any ranks.
your 3
so you
fish,
just have the 3 from this.
and you go down to carrying the net,
Wadded up net, like big
Well, like
fish.
that is a natural skill. Like anything you have a rank
and you
in,
go down
it's-
to the
it's
gap.
This and
Sorry, I
But,
assume
like, I would
Fishguts
still,
is.
like, if I did the
Yeah, he's there, he's
just
drinking.
+5.
He's just
Yeah.
drinking,
Okay.
nothing
you
else.
add +5 to your diploma skills.
Okay.
So I go up and I try and do
So the one-
the puppy dog
this
guys
doesn't
thing because
have
I'm
anything-
really
No,
upset. I
that's
was
just
trying
like
to do
basically
a
if you
good
put
job.
that's just how many ranks
I'm
you have.
just
It's
like,
like you put another rank in this, that would become
Mr.
+6.
Fishguts, sir, I am so sorry. I tried
Okay.
really hard. I've never done this before. I only caught these 3 fish.
Oh, well, I guess that's okay. You know, we got the dry store, so we can cut open a bag. We can put some of these rolls in there, kind of give it something to meat it up a little bit. You know, I'll tell you a secret. Today, because we fed the animals good last night, so today we're gonna take all the fish guts and the heads and all that, and we're gonna just come here. I'll show you.
He takes you over to the table and he picks up this mallet and he just starts kind of smashing it, just smashing it all up. He pulls the bones out, but
So he's smashing the fish?
oh yeah,
Okay.
yeah, like the whole fish. If he sees a bone, he pulls it out and he puts it in. He just puts all the guts and the mushed up fish and everything into the pot.
Fish hot dogs.
And he says,
Now we're gonna let this just boil for until tomorrow. We're not gonna use this at tonight dinner. We'll take some hardtack tonight. The crew be okay. They're gonna drink their rum. You know, you give them a little bit extra rum ration, and they be okay. So you just tell them it's hardtack tonight, but you promise we'll breakfast tomorrow, okay?
Okay.
and that stuff bubbles and boils, and it smells so nasty.
You can cut up an onion, or onion cover up anything. Let's put a couple of onions in there. They'll be all right.
Does he get the mallet and start smashing?
Yeah, smashes the onions up. Yeah.
Chef Gallagher.
Right?
Yeah.
Sledge-o-matic.
So he tells you where to get the hardtack, and you get the just some hard bread and a broth that he's got boiling. and he's always got 3 pots going, and so there's always something there. He's organized. He's just not talented. That's what you're gathering. He's also drunk most of the time.
Does he have any herbs or anything that are hanging dried herbs?
Yeah, you find some herbs. You probably found some earlier in your check, right, when you were searching for the net. You see where he's got some herbs stored.
Can I try and use that as a magical device and roll for use magical device to make it taste the stuff for tomorrow, the fish stuff, to make it taste better?
Well,
is it a magical device?
No.
My herbs can't be magical devices?
No, they're
Okay.
not. But if you have like a spell or something that you want to cast, you could use the herbs.
Where's your purified food and drink? We
I'm
need it.
asleep.
No, just thought
I'm
I'd put
not
that
sure.
out there.
I'm not sure. Purifying would probably not cause it to not give you disease.
Does-
Yeah,
does
yeah,
it
I
make
don't
it
would
taste
think it's
still be a
gonna do
bonus.
much for the taste.
Yeah.
That would
I mean,
still
you
be
can-
bonus.
Put some herbs in there.
I'll throw some herbs in there.
Make a I don't know. I guess a
Like
survival check.
profession cook or something.
You shouldn't have profession
Oh.
cook.
I'm kind of
Well,
seeing
He likes it
now
raw.
why
and
my
rare.
original mini, you were saying you would give me a bonus if I used him because he had a label.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, you put some herbs in.
Do you know what kind of herbs you put in?
Maybe.
Is it what
recognize
you
We
those?
cook a little of this, a little of that.
Is it what you put in the salt?
You smell them.
Lots of salt.
You smell them and you
Lots
think,
of salt.
this smells like it might cover up some of that. This might go
Ow.
with some onion.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just taste it.
Do you want to taste it?
I will taste. I'll after
Constitution
just a little
check.
while.
All right.
Do I need to roll for Constitution?
No.
Just kidding.
No. Okay.
It's fresh fish. It's just all of the fish. There's like he didn't even bother to skin it, like scales and everything in there.
Fish dogs.
But he assures you that it will all just boil down.
They're gonna hate me.
Especially after the good meal you
I
found
know.
last night.
Right.
All
I
right,
have
so
a heart attack again.
Right.
so you let the crew know that it's hardtack tonight, but there's a little bit of broth that they can get in their cup to kind of dip it in. So they have to use their cups to scoop up the broth, and so then after that they scoop up their grog and drink that. And they're grumpy. The crew's not super happy about.
And that's us now,
What?
right? The day shift, we're getting our evening meal.
Yes,
Okay.
which is also the breakfast of the night shift.
Yeah.
Right.
So who all? So we've come down from the rigging now, then, and okay. So we're kind of wandering around the deck. Who all is kind of around there that I see?
At this point, probably everybody who's out here, because it's that transition.
Okay. Well, since Ratline is my boss, I guess he would be the one I would initially check with, and I go up with him in short rations today. You know. So. How about to liven it up with a bit of music, do you think? Do you know where we might be able to find Rosie's violin?
Oh, well, it's gonna be with Cutthroat Grog because she's got all the stores.
Oh.
You understand that your stuff belongs to the captain now.
Oh, but, you know, it might liven things up since we're short rations for a bit of music.
But
For morale for the crew.
that's true. Well, I'll go down and ask Cutthroat Grog.
Appreciate it.
So he swings down and disappears under the ship, and then a few minutes later he comes back up and he's got the violin in his hand.
He's like, who does she go
I'll
to?
give it to her.
Oh, here you go.
See what you did there. That's good.
So you know how to flirt.
I'll flirt, but I know she likes her violin.
There you go.
So I went to Rosie and asked her, you know,
find
yeah.
something they love, and you're
That's the whole
you're
point
gonna
of
do
flirting,
just
isn't
fine.
it?
So Rosie, how's your day gone last? He goes up to Rosie.
Oh, you know it could be better.
Hi, yeah, short rations tonight. How would you like to maybe
kinda
brighten?
looking
I've
behind
got
your
it
back.
behind. Brighten
Right.
things up a bit for us and play us a tune.
You got me violin?
That's it.
Oh, God bless you. Ah, I'm the feckin' happiest girl. She plucks the strings, are all out of tune.
Yeah.
But she quickly tunes them up, and then she looks back at you and she gives you a kiss on the cheek. She's like, oh, how song. If it please you, Mr. Plug, I'd like to play a fucking song. Mr. Plug's like, okay. So she starts playing her fiddle, and she starts singing this song, and it seems to be one that the crew, most of the crew knows. If you've been on a pirate ship or a ship, a merchant vessel,
I'm sure everyone's familiar with shanties.
yeah, then you're probably familiar with this song, and it seems strangely appropriate because this one's called "Down in the Galley," and it goes something like the verse that repeats that everybody sings is "Down in the galley where the cook drinks some." So it starts off with there's a chellish seal on a bottle of rum. Down in the galley where the cook drinks some. There's a crack in the cork in the hole in the bung. Down in the galley where the cook drinks some. Then it goes on to describe how like the rats come and drink the rum, and then the rats are caught because they're drunk and they're turned into chum, and then they're thrown overboard and they catch some fish, and then the fish are all mushed up and cooked with a chellish plum, and then they're put into a barrel and aged, and that concoction is poured back into the barrel with the chellish seal on it, down in the galley where the cook drinks some. Yes. So the implication is that the rum is actually like fermented fish guts. It seems to be that the song was created to just sort of make fun of chellish anything, right? There's a general distaste for chillaxia.
So yeah, the Chillaxian chick. Do we notice how she's reacting to
Yeah,
this song?
she's heard it before, but she's just kind of bitter all the time, anyways. So it's hard to tell if this song has made her more bitter.
Okay.
But
She's just kind of rolling her eyes.
right, she's offended by
saying.
everything. So then, like something that's actually offensive, it's hard to tell if she's more offended or not. So everybody has a good time. It actually seems to raise the morale of the crew quite a bit. And they don't seem to complain so much about the fact that they're not eating a good meal. So that benefits you. Yeah.
I'm very sad though. I'm like so disappointed. So I'm even kind of sad about the song, like making fun of the food. It's my fault.
Ambrose tells you,
You know, someday you win some, and someday you lose some. But either way, we got rum.
He's a poet and didn't know it.
he offers you some rum.
Aww.
Whenever I have a bad day, I like to drink the rum. And whenever I have a good day, I like to drink the rum too. Isn't that right, Bezabel?
The chicken sitting on his shoulder. You notice that he talks to Bezabel like when you're there, he talks to Bezabel as if you're not there, right? He's one of those like the weird cat lady that she's gonna talk to all her cats, and then
with our dog. Yeah.
yeah, that's him. So he's got this special relationship with Bezabel. The other chickens they're like normal chickens, but Bezabel is like if a cook could have a familiar, Bezabel would be his. You wonder if maybe he's a sea witch at heart. And what's your little critter doing?
Just every once in a while, just kind of like hooks out and it goes and hides somewhere in my robes. And...
Okay. Does it have to eat?
No,
No?
I didn't say that it has to.
I would assume that it would have
It's
to like...
very low maintenance.
Is it undead?
It's a lich pill dog.
Maybe it crawls out sometimes and kind of like eats the residue off of your fingers when you're
Your dead skin cells,
cooking.
yeah.
Yeah.
The stuff off the floor that the pigs eat,
Right.
the chickens eat.
Yeah. And then scurries back up your leg
Yeah,
when
the
the
pig
pigs and the
poop,
chickens come over.
Because at this point I've had him
Do that.
had him so long that it's like I don't even notice he's going up and down. He's always
Yeah.
there.
Alright, anything else that you would like to do in this sort of the twilight, the in-between? You guys are awake. You are awake.
I'm just gonna
Okay,
stand
so
up
I'm
on the
assuming that as the night shift wakes up, they're kind of filing out. Like, is it possible for me to kind of like maybe like get in front of the kids and like hang back a little bit, to kind of create some distance between us and the other people filing out?
Yeah.
Okay. So I basically hang back a little bit until I'm pretty sure I can go talk to them, without being heard. And I say, listen, you remember what I said last night?
Oh, yes, sir.
Okay, well, here's the thing. You want to be pirates, you need to make these people your friends. So don't do anything stupid. Do you work well? I'll ask around about getting our weapons back, because I want mine too.
All right, sir. We understand. You're our friend, right?
Did I not help you out of the fight in the bar?
Oh, yes, sir. You definitely did. So,
Can I do a sense motive check on these kids?
yeah.
16.
Yeah. You can tell by the way they're kind of looking back and forth at each other and you that they're not being 100% truthful here.
Oh, okay. I look back at them and it's like, I just kind of give them like a knowing look that basically like, I know you don't trust me. I said, whatever you do, it's on you. I tried to help you.
We'll be fine, sir. We're not going to do anything stupid.
Okay. With that, I just, we just continue on upstairs.
Okay.